Okay, real quick, I apologize for the format of this review, but my computer is currently in a million pieces while I'm trying to figure out why it won't start, and I have no idea when it will be up again. And I just got out from Dune Part 2, and you have got to see this movie. This is epic storytelling on a scale that is rarely seen. And I don't mean that just in the size of action scenes or the world building. I mean in just the characters and how things come together. The acting is really good. It's really nice to see Christopher Walken in a movie where he's not just doing a self-parody. He's actually really good as the Emperor in this. Even Timothée Chalamet, who I didn't even like in the first movie, rises to the occasion this time. And he actually plays a commanding Paul Atreides. Now, don't get me wrong. Overall, if it were to come up to a matchup of three actors who have played Paul Atreides on the screen, I still think Kyle MacLachlan gets it at the closest to what you see in the novel. Another thing is, despite the fact, here's how I feel about these two movies. They are some of my favorite science fiction films of all time. However, if you're looking for an adaptation of the books, either the miniseries or even the David Lynch version get closer. These movies sort of take the basic premise of the book and some of the ideas and characters, and then they're largely their own thing. There are very few lines from the books in here, and there are major changes to characters and events and the reasons why things happen. But it works as its own. But if you're willing to watch it as its own thing, it works. If you're expecting it to be completely true to the book, it's not going to work for you. But oh my goodness. Everything across the board is just so good. This is going to be the movie to beat for 2024, and I really hope it becomes a big hit because we really need to see part 3. There are only two things I really would have changed. First of all, the ending felt a little bit rushed to me, and there was a part near the end of the movie that if they had decided to make the first book into a trilogy of films, it would have acted as the perfect cliffhanger in the part 3, but that's just personal preference. Personally, I would have liked to have seen some of the characters and events, fleshed out even more, but to me, that's just saying how good this is, that I wanted more of it. And that's not a bad thing, and if this makes the money that they're hoping it will make, Dune, and we get Dune Messiah, that is going to be one of the most epic films ever made. But yeah, I was very impressed. The only thing I didn't like, and this is going to be a big one for some people, is they butchered the character of Chani. She basically has no character arc, and in a way they made her look stupid and emotional. That's my problem with how a lot of women are written in Hollywood, and I think it's basically that they were trapped by Zendaya's lack of ability to act. All she knows how to do is look at people like with this judgmental stare like this. And somebody told her that was all acting. That is the end-all be-all of acting. So they have to write her character with basically no arc. She starts out hating Paul and being judgmental of him, and she ends the movie hating Paul, being judgmental, and running away from him, which is the exact opposite of what happens in the book. So I think there are going to be a lot of people who can't stand that. But that ends up being a very small portion. I feel like maybe there was more material with her, but they cut it down and I have to wonder how much of this was her requiring it in the contract, because this is her idea of a strong female character, when really it just makes her look stupid. Like, in the movie, when Paul, like, it just makes it look like she doesn't understand what's going on in the world around her. And that happens a lot when Hollywood writes women. Their idea of strong is somebody who's always angry and always there to start a fight, but it actually falls in to the stereotype that they say they hate of always portraying women as being without intellect and driven by their emotions. Like, in the end, Paul, of course, resolves the central conflict by marrying the emperor's daughter, and thus getting into a royal line of succession. Now, in the book, Chani is smart enough to know this was always the plan. And while she doesn't really like it, she doesn't run off and ride a sandworm at the end, spoilers. And she doesn't do this stupid thing where she pouts in the background for the rest of the story. Here, she acts shocked that it happened, even though this was the only end game where Arrakis doesn't get nuked from orbit by the fleet that's around them. And she just stands there. And it's just like, so yeah, if you have a low tolerance for that sort of thing, this isn't going to be the movie for you. But overall, yeah. Now, I know this is going to be a controversial opinion to some people, but I love this movie, but I also love the David Lynch version. And I rate them about equal. They're both basically 9 out of 10 movies for me. And unless something else comes along that is really, really good, this is my pick for Film of the Year for 2024. So yeah, despite a few problems that may put you off and you may want to be aware of going in, and so you should temper your expectations to the fact that they do make some changes for modern audiences. This is one of the greatest, most epic science fiction films ever made, and you should see it. Now, you can tell a lot of hard work went into this, and any version of Dune that comes to the screen is going to be compromised by either. So far, every version we've had has been compromised in some way. David Lynch's version was compromised by the market forces need to get the story down to 2.5 hours. The sci-fi miniseries was limited because it had a budget, because its budget was so low, it looked at episodes of Blake 7 with envy. And this one is sort of compromised because of one bad casting decision and some requirements to appeal to modern audiences. But I think it says something that they could have that kind of flaw in this movie, and I still wholeheartedly recommend it. Go see this movie. It's amazing. I really want to see it again, and I am really upset that there aren't any IMAX screens around me. If you can see this movie in IMAX, it'll be it has to be one of the most incredible things. I do know Dolby Atmos. I feel like I'm totally immersed in it. Best film of 2024. I can't see anything else coming close. So go see this, and you won't regret it. See you next time.